Long ago, the world was ruled by gods and monsters, but it was Perseus, who was half god, who defeated the Kraken monster and saved humanity. As a reward for his heroic deeds, Zeus offered Perseus a chance to rule alongside him, but Perseus declined and chose to live as a mortal. After his wife passed away, Perseus remained steadfast in his decision and lived a simple life as a fisherman while taking care of his son Helios. One evening, Zeus came to Perseus with distressing news. Humanity's lack of prayers is causing the gods to lose their powers, and the demons inside Tartarus may escape, including Cronus, the colossal titan and father of all gods, which could lead to catastrophe. Zeus requested Perseus' assistance in preventing this, but Perseus declined, prioritizing the well-being of his son and believing that he lacked the necessary power to make a meaningful impact. After Zeus departs, Perseus goes to sleep but is plagued by nightmares of Cronus attacking his village and almost killing his son. Meanwhile, Zeus meets with his brother Poseidon and his son Ares. Ares is displeased to learn that Perseus has declined to help, viewing him as irresponsible. The group travels to Tartarus to repair its walls, where they encounter Hades, who still harbors resentment towards his brothers Zeus and Poseidon for banishing him to the underworld. In light of this grudge, Hades betrays his family and unleashes fireballs and monsters. A fierce battle ensues, but the weakened gods are unable to fight at their full strength, and Poseidon is severely wounded. Zeus is distracted by his brother's injury, allowing Ares to knock him out and join forces with Ares. Ares then steals Zeus' thunderbolt to increase his power. Suddenly, a swarm of chimeras emerges from the underworld and begins attacking humans all around the world. One of them lands in Perseus' village, prompting him to hurry back and retrieve his sword to defend his home. The villagers gather around the crater left by the beast, but it quickly returns and sends everyone fleeing in terror. Perseus engages the monster in a pursuit through the village, doing his best to both fight the chimera and keep an eye on his son. Whenever the chimera unleashes a stream of fire, Perseus employs whatever is within reach as a shield. He also seizes any opportunity to thrust his weapon into any part of the beast he can reach. Despite being knocked to the ground, Perseus gathers himself and redirects the chimera's attention towards him, allowing his son to escape. The chimera eventually becomes entangled in a tangle of chains. The chimera takes off, dragging Perseus along with it. Once they are beyond the village, Perseus seizes the chains and dupes the creature into breathing fire, causing it to self-immolate. Perseus then enlists the aid of a healer to tend to his injuries and takes Helios with him to the Mount of Idols, a location that was once a place of worship for the gods but is now in disrepair. Upon arriving, they discover Zeus' statue and begin to pray, but it is Poseidon who appears, having narrowly escaped from the previous encounter. He informs Perseus of the treachery and Zeus' capture, instructing him to seek out Agenor, Poseidon's son, who is with Queen Andromeda. Together, they must search for the fallen god Hephaestus, who holds the key to defeating Cronus. Poseidon then requests that Perseus give his son the trident before he passes away. Meanwhile, Zeus is restrained to allow Tartarus to absorb his powers and use them to release Cronus. Ares seizes the opportunity to express his hatred for his father, accusing him of favoring Perseus and insulting the gods by choosing to live as a mortal. Cronus has promised Ares and Hades eternal life in exchange for freeing him, but Zeus believes it to be a ploy to sway their allegiance. In the village, Perseus ultimately recognizes the need to engage in battle. He bids farewell to Helios, who presents him with a dagger he crafted himself. Perseus summons his black Pegasus, who carries him high into the sky. Perseus is able to locate Queen Andromeda's armies who are preparing for battle near the entrance to the underworld. Initially, the archers attack Perseus as he flies by, but they quickly realize that he is the hero who defeated the Kraken and put down their weapons. Perseus is greeted with reverence and reunites with Andromeda, sharing all the information with her, including the warning to stop praying to Ares, lest his presence be summoned. Andromeda agrees to assist and brings Perseus to Agenor, who is imprisoned for his dishonesty and thievery. Although initially hesitant, Agenor agrees to help Perseus after he is promised a royal pardon, gold, and a boat. Andromeda agrees to provide all of these things to Agenor for the sake of humanity. On Agenor's new boat, Andromeda discovers that Hephaestus created Poseidon's trident, Hades' pitchfork, and Zeus' lightning bolt. If the three are combined, they can form the Spear of Triumph, the weapon used by the gods to defeat Cronus in the past. Hephaestus resides on the elusive island of Kale, which has never been located, but Agenor insists that he knows the way to get there. Perseus agrees to release Agenor from his shackles and hands him the trident, which Agenor promptly plunges into the boat to guide them to the island. Upon arrival, they discover that the island is littered with hidden traps. Andromeda's guards suggest praying to Ares for protection, but Perseus reminds them that Ares is no longer on their side. Despite their caution, Agenor stumbles into a wire trap and becomes ensnared. While they contemplate how to rescue him, the trap suddenly lifts into the air by its ropes, and Perseus pursues it only to be confronted by a surprise attack from a Cyclops. As Andromeda's team rushes to aid Perseus, a second Cyclops appears and begins slaughtering the soldiers. Andromeda takes cover with her guard Coronea, who attempts to pray to Ares, but Andromeda silences her. A Cyclops nearly discovers their hiding spot, but it suddenly hears a scream of agony from its comrade and rushes to investigate. Perseus has succeeded in stabbing the Cyclops trailing him, and with the assistance of the soldiers, he activates a trap in the forest that knocks it unconscious. The second Cyclops charges towards Perseus, but he employs the trident to defend himself. This causes a third Cyclops to arrive and intervene, as the trident is the symbol sent by the gods to the group. Agenor is liberated, and the Cyclopes pay homage to Perseus by kneeling in respect. Meanwhile, Ares takes advantage of Zeus being restrained and repeatedly attacks him. Ares, however, is oblivious to his own limitations, and Hades has to intervene before he jeopardizes the plan. The chains wrapped around Zeus's arms absorb his power, causing him to age rapidly. Finally, the group reaches Hephaestus's lair, but the old god seems to be in a state of confusion. Although he recognizes Perseus, he explains that he cannot assist them since Zeus stripped him of his godly abilities when he banished him to the human realm. Andromeda implores Hephaestus for help by holding his hand and reminding him of his wife Aphrodite, which convinces him to reconsider. Hephaestus then reveals that he created Tartarus and included a secret passage that they can use. In order to reach the heart of Tartarus, the group must first navigate through the labyrinth that surrounds it. They head to a different building where the entrance to the labyrinth is hidden by Hephaestus, who provides Agenor with a map of the maze. However, their progress is interrupted by the sudden appearance of Ares, who kills the remaining soldiers of Andromeda before being confronted by Perseus. Despite the group's attempts to fight him, Ares proves too strong and easily overpowers them. Coronea reveals herself as the one who prayed for Ares but is killed as a result. In a last-ditch effort to save the group, Hephaestus confronts Ares and keeps the door open with his staff, allowing Perseus, Andromeda, and Agenor to enter the labyrinth before the door closes behind them. The three members of the group begin to explore the labyrinth with the help of the map provided by Hephaestus. Perseus repeatedly hears a voice calling his name and asking about his son, while Andromeda has a vision of Coronea that disappears quickly. After navigating through several twists and turns, Agenor suggests that they follow his instincts as a navigator, which he inherited from his father. Suddenly, the walls of the labyrinth begin to move and close in on them, forcing the group to run away to avoid being crushed. They eventually reach an intersection of the labyrinth with large moving rings that cause them to become trapped between two walls. Andromeda is rescued by the other two semi-gods who use their strength to free her, but Perseus falls again. In a dark corridor, Perseus encounters Helios, but he realizes that he is not real. Perseus searches for his companions and is suddenly attacked by a minotaur that tries to impale him with its horns. A brutal fight breaks out between Perseus and the minotaur, and after a prolonged struggle, Perseus manages to push the minotaur into a wall and impale it with its own horns. The minotaur pleads for mercy using Helios' voice, but Perseus kills it anyway. With the minotaur defeated, a clear path opens up for Perseus and his companions to continue their journey towards the heart of Tartarus. Meanwhile, Zeus apologizes to Hades for his past actions and forgives him for imprisoning him. Hades begins to reconsider his position and seeks approval from his family, but Ares suddenly appears and attacks Hades to prevent him from freeing Zeus. The two exchange blows, but Hades gains the upper hand and both he and Ares fall into the abyss. Meanwhile, Cronus absorbs Zeus' power and begins to awaken. Perseus, with the help of his companions, arrives and frees Zeus using Poseidon's trident. While Ares attempts to continue the fight, Andromeda and Agenor try to stop him but are unsuccessful. Suddenly, Hades attacks Ares from behind with his pitchfork, causing him to fall. The trio escapes with Zeus, but Ares throws the pitchfork at Zeus, stabbing him in the back. Taking advantage of the situation, Zeus combines the pitchfork and trident to transport the group out of Tartarus. Ares, enraged, stabs Hades before realizing that Perseus has dropped Helios' gift. The group appears at Andromeda's camp, but Zeus' time is running out. He instructs Perseus that Ares possesses his lightning bolt, and they must steal it to make a spear that only Perseus can wield. The group devises a plan. Agenor, Andromeda, and her army will confront Cronus while Perseus retrieves the bolt. The protagonist seeks Ares' assistance by praying to him and asking him to meet at the temple, which he reaches by riding on his Pegasus. However, chaos erupts as the entrance to the underworld explodes, and fireballs rain down, accompanied by various monsters. Despite their best efforts and all available weapons and strategies, humans are struggling to keep up with the onslaught. Just as all hope seems lost, Hades appears on the battlefield to reconcile with Zeus, healing him with his remaining power and making him appear youthful again. With both gods now fighting, the monsters fall easily. Meanwhile, at the temple, Perseus discovers that Ares has brought Helios to witness the hero's father being taken away, similar to how Ares was forced to watch his own father's fate. The brothers engage in a heated battle, but Ares easily overpowers Perseus, who is only a demigod. In a critical moment, Helios steps forward with his father's sword, which distracts Ares, giving Perseus the opportunity to jump on him from behind and snatch the lightning bolt. Perseus uses the bolt to defeat Ares once and for all, completing his collection of the 3 weapons. He then combines them to create the Spear of Triumph. Meanwhile, Cronus awakens and appears on the battlefield, prompting Zeus and Hades to focus their efforts on attacking him. Unfortunately, their powers are not enough, and Cronus proceeds to unleash destruction upon the area, shooting lava all around. Perseus arrives on his Pegasus, but the pouring lava prevents him from approaching to strike. Hades and Zeus combine their powers to deliver a powerful blow to Cronus, allowing Perseus to move closer. This action infuriates Cronus, causing him to strike the ground, unleashing a massive wave toward the gods. Zeus shields Hades with a force field but is unable to withstand the attack and is thrown back. Seizing the opportunity, Perseus evades Cronus' final lava wave and flies directly into his mouth, plunging the Spear of Triumph deep into Cronus' body. The plan succeeds, and Cronus explodes into ash. The army rejoices, and Andromeda is overjoyed to see Perseus return unharmed.